I'd like to start by sharing a couple of quotes that I've enjoyed. Man often becomes what he believes himself to be. If I keep on saying to myself that I cannot do a certain thing, it's possible that I may end up really becoming incapable of doing it. On the contrary, if I have the belief that I can do it, I shall surely acquire the capacity to do it, even if I may not have it at the beginning. It's from Mahatma Gandhi. Without leaps of imagination or dreaming, we lose the excitement of possibilities. Dreaming, after all, is a form of planning. Love that. That's Gloria Steinem. If we all did the things we are really capable of doing, we would literally astound ourselves. Thomas Edison. Let us pray. Father, Mother God, we are grateful to be living in a place and time with so many possibilities. We are grateful for your constant and loving presence in our lives. We ask now that our guides, angels, and loved ones in spirit gather close as we celebrate their presence by repeating the prayer that Jesus taught. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. Good morning, all you lovely people. I'm so glad you decided to spend your oh my goodness. We're just going to have to reset everything this morning. Good morning, all you precious people. I'm so glad you decided to spend your morning with us. I always feel privileged when I have a chance to speak to you from up here, so it really is an honor. I'd like to start off by hopefully not scaring you from the room and speaking about quantum physics. I understand very little about it, but I'd like to share just a little bit of what I've learned. Quantum physics is the study of matter and energy at the most fundamental level. It aims to uncover the properties and behaviors of the building blocks of nature. While many quantum experiments examine very small objects such as electrons and photons, quantum phenomena are all around us on every scale. However, we may not be able to detect them easily in large objects. This may give the wrong impression that quantum phenomena are bizarre or otherworldly. But in fact, quantum science closes gaps in our knowledge of physics to give us a more complete picture of our everyday lives. Quantum discoveries have been incorporated into our foundational understanding of materials, chemistry, biology, and astronomy. These discoveries are a valuable resource for innovation, giving rise to devices such as lasers and transistors, and enabling real progress on technologies once considered purely speculative, such as quantum computers. That idea kind of scares the poop out of me. Physicists are exploring the potential of quantum science to transform our view of gravity and our connection to space and time. Quantum science may even reveal how everything in the universe, or multiple universes, is connected to everything else through higher dimensions that our senses cannot comprehend. Start to sound familiar? The field of quantum physics arose in the late 1800s and early 1900s from a series of experimental observations of atoms that didn't make intuitive sense in the context of classical physics. Among the basic discoveries was the realization that matter and energy can be thought of as discrete packets, or quanta, that have a minimum value associated with them. For example, light of a fixed frequency will deliver energy in quanta called photons. Each photon at this frequency will have the same amount of energy, and this energy cannot be broken down into smaller units. In fact, the word quantum has Latin roots, which means how much. Knowledge of quantum principles transformed our view of the atom, which consists of a nucleus surrounded by electrons. Early classic physics models depicted electrons as particles that orbited the nucleus, much the way satellites orbit Earth. Modern quantum physics instead understands electrons as being distributed within orbitals, which are mathematical descriptions that represent the probability of the electron's existence in more than one location within a given range at a given time. Understand that word probability, because that's huge. Electrons can jump from one orbital to another as they gain or lose energy, but they cannot be found between orbits. Because many of the concepts of quantum physics are difficult, if not impossible, for us to visualize, mathematics is essential to the field. Equations are used to describe or help predict quantum objects and phenomena in ways that are more exact than our imaginations can conjure. Mathematics is also necessary to represent the probabilistic nature of quantum phenomena. For example, the position of electrons may not be known exactly. Instead, it may be described as being in a range of possible locations, such as within an orbital, with each location associated with a probability of finding the electron there. Now, this all sounds very esoteric, I know, and like, who cares? But here's the piece I'd like to emphasize. The act of observation is a topic of considerable discussion in quantum physics. Early in the field, scientists were baffled to find that simply observing an experiment influenced the outcome. For example, an electron acted like a wave when not observed, but the act of observing it caused the wave to collapse and the electron instead to behave like a particle. Scientists now appreciate that the term observation is misleading in this context, suggesting that consciousness is involved. Instead, measurement better describes the effect, in which a change in outcome may be caused by the interaction between the quantum phenomenon and the external environment, including the device used to measure the phenomenon. Even this connection has caveats, though, and a full understanding of the relationship between measurement and outcome is still needed, so they are still studying. But the basic line here is that when you watch something and expect a given outcome, that outcome happens at the quantum tiny level. So what this means is that science is discovering in this wonderful world we live in and on, the basic building blocks of creation can change based on probabilities and, here's the key, observation. We've spoken here many times about the law of attraction, and quantum physics is now proving the truth to these ideas. I'm geeky enough to be pretty excited about that. Understanding the world through the lens of quantum physics instead of classical Newtonian physics is truly a paradigm shift. Scientifically, a paradigm represents a philosophical and theoretical framework of a discipline. There's the textbook definition. For example, the idea that the Earth is flat used to be a framework that all other approaches and rules followed. Proving this belief wrong opened up a whole range of new possibilities and advances in various scientific disciplines. In a personal sense, a paradigm shift defines a fundamental change in how you see the world. Changing a personal paradigm opens up a whole new range of lifelines for your personal and professional growth, presenting you more opportunities than before. Conventional paradigms are pretty deeply ingrained in our culture, and shifting a paradigm won't happen overnight. But if you keep an open mind, the following 4 paradigm shifts might not sound like they're coming from Neptune and help you reevaluate your ways of thinking. Let's call these paradigms what ifs. First, let's focus on knowledge. The truth is, we don't know what we don't know. I know that sounds a little crazy, but let's say it again in your mind until you get it. We don't know what we don't know. The world has become increasingly complex and demanding. Accepting our ignorance and changing our paradigm from I know to I know that I don't know, like Socrates famously said, opens any closed mind. We all have different points of view and biases as a result of our previous life experiences. Realizing and honoring ignorance creates a new level of thinking that can bridge those differences. This new lifeline paves a way to wisdom. It will get you closer to the truth. I'd go so far in saying the resulting understanding is the key to world peace. Nothing big there. The second what if we are about to break is our fundamental belief that we need to get more and make more to be happy. We ask, how much more can I get when I invest X time or money? Who is in that meeting? Is it worth it for me to go? What if we instead thought, how much value can I give to my business partner, to society, and the environment? How can I help that person support that movement? This paradigm brings us to a fundamentally different way of making business, the gift economy. While this idea might still be far from reality, the concept of giving can radically improve your life. The base for this paradigm shift is the law of reciprocity, the social norm that will respond to a nice gesture with another act of kindness. Frequently, people react much more helpful and much more cooperative compared to the original action. The whole is bigger than the sum of its parts. And welcoming this paradigm shift will have positive ripple effects on your relationships, well-being, and overall life satisfaction. The third paradigm shift, or what if, thought is less but better. Billboards and emotional messages will tell you what you need and thereby tie you up with their golden handcuffs. In contrast, the paradigm shift from I need it towards I don't need it will give you more true freedom. Adopting a minimalistic mindset isn't hard. You simply go through all of your stuff and ask yourself, do I love it? If not, get rid of it. Where have we heard this before? With less time spent on buying and taking care of your possessions, you have more time, which you can allocate to more meaningful activities, such as meeting friends, reading, writing, or supporting a social cause, or going to church. Did you know that the science of positive psychology found that only 10% of your happiness depends on your circumstances, including the stuff we own? 50% of our happiness is dependent on genetics, and the other 40% comes from our intentional behavior. I'm not really sure where they got those numbers, because those sound really interesting to me. But I thought I'd share them in case you got a little giggle out of them like I did. The I don't need it paradigm helps you focus on the intentional part. It switches your attention to what is vital for your happiness. It lets you experience more freedom to be your real self and not the person you pretended to be with your stuff, because we don't want it to know how we really feel. Reduced consumption not only saves your wallet, but also improves the planet's future by preserving energy and raw materials. In short, becoming more minimalistic helps you to be healthier, to improve your relationships, to enjoy the moment more intensely, and to increase your feeling of gratitude. The fourth paradigm shift, or what if, is about believing in yourself. To go from who am I to do it to who am I not to do it. This mind shift beats imposter syndrome like a boxer. It will have you take action toward creating and working for the things you believe. This shift in thinking will help you solve a problem you care about and help other people. We all have so much inside to give and share, but the idea that others can do it better keeps us from tapping into it. What is something you always put off with the belief that others can do it better? Okay. There was a drawing I was going to share with you and did not, but it's one of those classic drawings where if you look at it one way, it looks like an old woman, and if you look at it a different way, it looks like a young woman. There you go. You've all seen these things, the vases that look like two faces or a vase, those sorts of things. Both images are there depending on how you look at it and your observation of it. What if that's exactly what the entire world is like? What if everything we see around us can change based on our expectations or observations? And I know none of this is really new to any of you. You are intelligent people who are willing to see and learn new things, or you wouldn't be at this church. If you'd like a biblical reference for this sort of viewing the negative appearing events of the world differently, you can't get a better source than the entire book of Job. I won't read that today, but if you're interested, it's an interesting story. So I'd like to invite you to look at our current political situation through a new lens today. Oh, Laura, let's not get into politics. It doesn't get more divisive than that these days. That's very true. And that's the point. From our own personal standpoints, there is very little outside of ourselves that does not appear to be extremely divisive. We're constantly being asked to choose sides these days in everything, from what we choose to purchase at the grocery store and what that says about us, to what kind of car we drive, to the music we listen to, what news channel we choose or choose not to listen to. It feels like a very different time to be alive right now, and mostly not a great one. From a human perspective, it's somewhat difficult to see society's trajectory as a positive one right now. But what if it really is a positive thing? What if all the turmoil and division we see around us is good? What if it's the universe's way of making our choices absolutely clear? No more ambiguity. The consequences of our actions or choices are certainly much easier to see now than they ever have been before. For example, it seems a bit like you have an illness. It seems a bit like when you have an illness and take some antibiotics for it. When you first start taking them, the medicine kills the offending bacteria, and your body is then flooded with deadly bacteria and toxins. And you feel worse. What's going on here? But give it a day or two, and you feel better. The reality is that the medicine did indeed help you. So let me tie some of these things I've been talking about this morning together into something a little more cohesive, because we kind of wandered around a bit. Asking yourself what if about any aspect of your life can have life-altering possibilities. Asking that questions about things in your life that you accepted as truth, also known as the paradigm that you're living in, has the potential to change anything about your life. And quantum physics is beginning to explain how and why that happens. That phrase, what if, invites you to look at things differently. And from there, you can experience things differently. And that changes the entire world. So if you don't like the world you see around you, I'll invite you to look at it differently and ask, what if? Thank you. We'll go into a meditation now. What if we did a meditation now? Before we begin the meditation, I'd like to ask you all to take a moment or two. Can you turn that down a little bit? Okay. Before we begin the meditation, I'd like to ask you all to take just a moment or two and think of an area in your life where you feel a bit stuck. An area that could use some clarity and change. And now, with that aspect of your life in mind, we join together to learn, grow, and heal. And we prepare ourselves by getting comfortable in our seats, gently closing our eyes, knowing we are protected and all is well. Our bodies relax into the seats. We allow ourselves to feel fully supported. We begin by concentrating on our breathing. Take slow, deep breaths from your belly. And watch your breath as it goes in and out. Breathe in the fresh, clean air and hold it a moment or two. And slowly breathe out. And as you do, imagine all the strains and tension you've been feeling flowing out of your body with your breath. Continue this deep, relaxing breathing as all of your tension is released. When thoughts come up in your mind, just let them go with your breath. Just let your breath follow its own natural rhythm. And then without your personal connection to your body and the universe, your mind becomes still, lulled into peace and quiet with the gentle rhythm of your breathing. Feel calm and in harmony. And your mind is open to receive the gifts of the Spirit. Imagine right now that you're in a place where you feel very safe, very at ease, and very comfortable. Take a moment to really settle into this place. And when you're feeling in, gently bring that aspect of your life into your mind, knowing you're in a safe place right now. And it cannot disturb your peace. While that situation is gently sitting in your mind, bring forth those two words. What if? What if that other person doesn't mean to hurt me? What if I changed my mind about this decision? What if this situation is really a good thing meant to bless me? What if? Now the possibilities to come to you. It's time now for you to return, bringing with you any new perspectives you may have gained, any new feelings about your life, becoming more aware of your body again. Take a deep breath in and out, and then another one. Completely back in your body now, and feeling better than you have in a long time. Welcome home.